Are you thinking about buying land here in East Tennessee? I'm going to share with you some mistakes that you do not want to make whenever you're purchasing land, really, whether it's here in East Tennessee or anywhere. Number one, don't skip the perk test. Unless you have evidence in front of you that the seller had completed a perk test in the past 3 years, you always want to get a perk test before you buy the piece of property. It can be time consuming depending on how backed up the TDEC is, but this is what I can tell you, especially in the areas of Unicoi County, Greene County, and Cobb County. After the flooding that we've experienced from Hurricane Helene, that has totally changed the topography of those counties. So I would highly suggest, if you're buying a raw piece of land that you intend to build a house on, you need to get a perk test done before you actually close on that piece of property. Because if it doesn't perk after you've bought it, then you've got unusable land you're never going to be able to build on. Number two, a lot of times people who are buying land, especially if they're paying cash, want to skip the appraisal. I don't know that you're necessarily helping yourself by doing that. What if you overpay for that land? What if in your mind you think it's a great deal, but maybe actually you're overpaying for that particular piece of property? An appraisal is going to protect your investment and help you to not overpay and put yourself in a position of never getting your money back out of that piece of property. You never want to ignore deed restrictions or CCRs. CCRs stand for the covenants and restrictions of a neighborhood. A lot of times, unless it's in a gated community or something like that, you're not going to have a whole lot of restrictions. But you do need to check into it, because I have seen times where it could be a 20, 30, 40 acre piece of property, but whoever sold it initially had put in the deed that no single wide trailers, no junk cars, no this, no that, no poultry or pigs or something like that. And you definitely don't want to end up in the position that you've purchased a piece of land only to find out later that you can't use it for what you wanted to. So always check the deed restrictions. When you get a title search done, they should be able to tell you, so make sure you find that out before you go to the actual closing. A lot of times when I go out with buyers that are looking at land, they don't really want to walk the property. Like, they're just trying to figure out where the corners are. Walk the property, because you may find that where you thought you wanted to build your house, there's a huge stone sitting right there. And that could cause issues, or it could cost you more money when it comes to the grading and the excavation of that lot. So always walk the lot. Make sure that you're pretty familiar with where the boundaries are going to be. Look for any kind of encroachments. Look for fences that might be over the line. Check out what you're buying before you actually sign on it. The other thing is, if there's already a well there, don't skip out on a well test. You want to get the quality of the water checked. You want to make sure that the well still functions. You want to check to see how fast it's flowing. Because if you're thinking in your mind, well, I don't have to worry about a well because this one already has one, but maybe that well is dry, maybe it's not pumping enough water out per minute to supply your home, now you're going to have to dig another well that maybe you didn't budget for. The last one I'm going to share with you is, don't skip talking to the neighbors. Whenever someone is trying to sell property, all they have to say is great things about it, right? But when you talk to the neighbors, you get the real lowdown on what's going on. They're going to tell you about any kind of bad activity going on. They're going to tell you the whole history and background of the property, why these people are selling it. But they're also going to tell you about any issues that you're going to need to know that maybe you wouldn't be able to find out otherwise. So I would encourage you, if you're looking for a piece of property, make sure you kind of walk out, talk to any neighbors you see out, ask them for the scoop, because I promise you they're going to be more than happy to give it to you. If you have any tips on buying land, or if you want to add to my list, leave it in the comments. Let's talk about it.